video tutorial. Today we're going to see how to create this feature list CTAs CTA with Flowbyte. Basically, we are going to reproduce this structure. As you can see, there is the desktop, the tablet version, sorry, the mobile version, and we are going to make this with Bricks Builder and Automatic CSS. You're not forced to have Automatic CSS, but it's best to have it to really go forward very quickly. Also, if you're going to reproduce exact same design, please consider buying Flowbyte so that you can actually use with no issue all their design. We are going only to reproduce the structure. The styling is all up to you later. So let's start right away. I have this page here on Bricks on WordPress with Bricks Builder installed and Automatic CSS. If you need Automatic CSS, you can get in the links of this video tutorial and get it from there. Also Bricks if necessary. Anyway, let's start right away. The first thing that we need to create is a section. So I'm going to click here and then I have section here. So just open the section. Then we have the structure like title, subtitle, and then we have like a grid of 3 elements. So very easily we are going back here by selecting the section and then selecting the container. With the container selected here, we are sure that if I add a new widget, it will get inside that container. So by clicking on plus here again, we're going to click on heading and then we are going to click on rich text. You could also use 2 headings if you want to make a subtitle, but in this case we're going to do it in this way. With the container selected, now there is a little arrow and you can see the heading and the rich text, right? So I'm going to copy just the same text to make it look, a little bit better in this way. And then with the container selected, you can click on center. Oops, sorry, this is not working. Here is it. Align cross axis and you can click on center. And now we have everything in the center. Now we need to add a new container, but we need it into the section. So select the section and then go on the plus button and click on container. Now we have another container here at the bottom and we need to add a grid this time. So as you can see here, okay, on the left panel we have the new container and we are going to select it, and on content, instead of flex, I usually prefer to use grid, okay. So here you can actually add the grid template columns, okay. But we are going to use the Automatic CSS. So with right click, I'm going to choose 3 columns, okay, and as you can see, it's adding 3 columns grid. And by doing this, of course, now we can add our content inside of it. And the cool thing is that it's totally responsive. As you can see, everything is adapting, and we will see how to make one column by mobile. But let's first finish the desktop version. So with grid template columns here added, now oh, I did not mention that I use right click and Automatic CSS pops up and gives you all the option for the grid. So with this added, we are going to add the elements inside of it, right? So the first element we need to add in the grid, it's basically by going on the plus button, and again with the container selected, we need to add a new container by clicking here. Now we have a container inside of this container, right? So by selecting this, now we can add more content inside, and if I get here, we have an icon, we have a title, a subtitle, and a call to action. So how to do that? Basically, with the container selected, go on the plus, and now we are going to add an icon. So you can search for SVG, okay. Here is saying no SVG selected. Here you can actually upload your own SVG if you wish. Let's say in this case I'm not using my own SVG. Let's say I want to add an icon. So I'm going to search for icon and I'm going to click icon. So I will use this icon as a test. If you want to change it, of course you need to style it, or just click on here and you can, you know, select from the different databases of icons. Okay, so I'm going to remove from here the SVG as I'm not uploading my own. And then again, with container selected, let's add the other elements by clicking on plus and let's see, the title and the description and a CTA. So a title, a description, and a CTA. We can also add a text link, okay, in this way, because the CTA in this case is a text link, right? So great, we done that, right? So now what to do? We now have to duplicate these 3 times in order to have the 3 grid, like the 3 boxes in the grid populated, right? So how to do that? Basically, first of all, there is an option here called BEM. If you click on this, you can basically add classes, okay, automatically, and you can also rename it. So we call it, for example, card single. Let's call it like this, card single one. Okay, so now that we have this element in this way, we can click apply classes. Now, as you can see here, our classes was applied to the card entirely, and if I click on icon, we have the class applied here too, heading and etc. So all the elements has a class. This will allow us to style all of them once. So first of all, let's duplicate these 3 times by clicking this little icon here. And as you can see now, we have those 3 elements, right? Great, now let's start styling the first element. All the styling will be changing automatically also for the other ones because we added the classes. So with this selected, of course, I'm going to make some changes. But before that, I want some more spacing between the grid. So click on the container that is in charge of the grid, as you can see, and the 3 grid structure. And then on gap, we can right click and just go on, for example, L if you want something large, XL if you want more space, or, you know, XXL. So of course he's adapting on the container, so he won't go like full width for now. So I'm going to just click on L because I like it. And then what we need to do, we need to center everything, right? So for centering, that's in charge for this card, the single card. So I'm going to single card, and now I'm going to start, you know, styling this. So to style all of them, I need to click on this little class tag, let's call it like this, because when this is enabled, we are basically editing all of those. So with that clicked, I'm going to change the content to align axis in this way, and then with this one and find where is the centering, because I'm sure, oh, here is it. Okay, so the centering was in typography actually. Now everything was fine, and what we need to do is to change the text. So I'm going to change quickly the text just to make it look better. So secure storage, I'm going to copy this and go on content, add secure storage, this text here, I'm going to add this text, and then also this text here. Let's change it to the new one. Oops, wrong, need to click on this button. When you are changing the content, as you can see, you don't need to actually select this. Okay, so now what we have here, we have some styling to do. This one is bolder, this has a gray color, and this is blue, right? So most of the time you can edit the styling from the bricks dashboard. I will quickly show you where. Basically, if you get on Automatic CSS and you go on typography, palette, spacing, button, and links, you can set up some you can set up some general rules that will take automatically in action on all the whole website. I'm not doing this. I highly suggest to get familiar with this screen here, because it's very useful when you want to keep the same design on the whole website without having to edit every time every element. So in this case we are going to change every element by ourselves, so that for a learning purpose. So so click on this, and the icon, for example, in this case, I'm not sure the size. I'm going to try to guess the size. Style, layout. As you can see, I selected this, and I'm going to change the layout, the width, or maybe we can even change the size here. Here you are, 6 AM. That's too much. Okay, 3M is great. Storage, as you can see, this is smaller, so I'm going to select storage, select the heading tag, class tag, style, close this and go on typography, and here you can put SM, right click with Automatic CSS, so something like this. In the text here, again select this, activate it, and then we are going to change maybe the typography color, like right click in my case, because I have my palette from Automatic CSS. I can make this a little bit lighter. Okay, and then this button here, the link button, I can click here and then go on icons and just add an icon on the right side. We can have a library here. Let's see if we find a little arrow similar to what we have on the other design. Now this little arrow is here. Of course you can also upload your own SVG. In this case I would do in this way. So the icon is showing here on the left. I wonder how to show it on the right. Let me see. We had color, background color, border. So here you can of course link to external URL, dynamic page, etc. Size, width, height, color, background, border, position. Right, okay, here is it. So now we have the icon on the right side, as you can see, similar to this one. You can also change the size here, the width, but for now I will keep it like that. And for the color, go on style, typography, and color. We are going to add like a color like this in this case for the link. And okay, great, so we have basically everything done. Let's color also the icon. So I click on the icon, click on this, and right click, and you make this in color. Perfect. Now if you of course want a custom color similar to this, you can get the color. Otherwise you can do as I did. I have my own palette. Okay, great. So now without talking too much, I'm trying to get this to a correct spacing. So as you can see, the spacing here is a little bit more, there is more spacing here, there is more spacing here. So let's try to set up this a little bit better. I usually do this when there is some spacing in that way. First of all, I select the entire card. I go and select, of course, the class tag, so that everything change. And you can also change the spacing inside of it by just going here. Basically it's grid row, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. Yep, here is it, row gap, I'm sorry. So on row gap, okay, you just right click and you can select whatever you want from Automatic CSS. In this case, I'm going to use maybe this one. Let's see. Okay, let's say I want to make a different thing here. Instead of evenly spacing everything, I'm going here on the right side, and I want the heading and the text in the same container. So I'm going to right click on the heading, okay, and then I'm going to say wrap into a container or into a div, whatever you want. Let's say container, okay, and then as you can see, now we have a container here with the heading. I'm going to drag and drop the text inside of the container, Okay, so now heading and text is inside the same container, right? Then what do you want to do here? You want to add a new class, right? So I can add it manually here by saying WP internal container card 1. So now we have this one for this container, and I'm going to do this thing here. Okay, now what I do here, I get to the first card again, and then I'm going to change again the row gap, right click or add, and as you can see now the spacing is affecting only on the top and the bottom of this section. Okay, so in this case I use the XS. Now everything is changing, but as you can see those are different, are spacing evenly. It's hard to see, but it's not really the same spacing here and here. Okay, there is also another way to do that without doing this thing here, but for now I think this is the best practice if you want to structure elements. So I'm going to remove, in this case, the other two and duplicate this one, because we added a new container and I want them to be also in the other cards, right? So now the structure, it's done. Let's say I want more spacing here between this element and this grid, right? So let's select this section entirely and go on row gap, right click, and just, oops, let me remove this, right click and just select the spacing from Automatic CSS. Let's say I put M, and now we have more spacing between the two sections, right? Okay, now if you want, you can actually change the content to make it look better. So we're going very quickly to change the content. Best practices, and yeah, that's all. So again, if you want the same design, please consider buying the Figma the flow by design, because at least you can get the same design. I'm not reproducing the same exactly design just for that reason. We did not change this one, but again, if you want to change this text here, just select it. We did not add a class, but anyway, we can go on typography, size, you can make it, M or L, let's put it L, and then the color, I'm going to change it with, a gray color or a lighter color. Let's see if I find something nice. Yeah, that's all. So we did the structure, and let's check it, how it behave. So this is behaving in this way, this is behaving in this way, and this is behaving this way. So what we need to do now, basically, as you can see, we see some problems here because the call to action is pretty long. What we can do here is to change the number of columns when there is too much text, or you can make those buttons shorter. Okay. Okay, so let's go on mobile, right? The mobile is very, very important, and we need to make sure that this grid shows 1 by 1, so with 1 column instead of 3. And to do that very easily, with the section, open it, let's close the container so we have an idea, right, on where we are working. So container, this one is the container in charge of the grid. Let me close also the card. So this one is the one that need to be selected on content. Here, as you can see, in a very light color, we have the desktop version, like the desktop setting here. So right click and one grid 1. So now we have one grid showing perfectly on mobile, and you need to do the same thing also on other resolution. For example, for this resolution, I would go with 2 columns. So right click here and you can add 2 columns, right? In this way. With 2 columns added, of course, he will make this structure, and usually it's correct, this structure in this way. Then if I get here, I think we can even keep it like that, it's not a problem. Of course, this looks a little bit different for the text. Here the text is very long. We should make it a little bit shorter. Of course, depends on what you want to write in, but usually call to action are not so long. Okay, so now everything looks fine. If you want, of course, in this design, even elements like 4 of them, you can, add a new column. Let's say you want 4 and not 3. It's very simple. Go on container, instead of grid 3, right click and make grid 4. Of course, with grid 4, those texts are too long, and of course you just need to duplicate this and everything will be fine. As you can see on mobile, we still have 1 column, nothing changed. On the desktop version, we will have 4 columns. And if I get here, you have 4 elements. Again, just make sure your call to action are not too long. Great. I hope that the tutorial was useful, guys. See you in the next video. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video, so I will be able to do more. Thank you very much. Bye bye.